Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of business. Today we're diving into Archer Aviation's latest proxy statement, and let me tell you, there's more turbulence here than you might expect. We're talking about votes, board members, and some seriously interesting financial maneuvers. First, Archer Aviation is gearing up for its annual meeting in late June. Stockholders, that's you if you own shares, get to vote on some key decisions. Think of it as your chance to weigh in on who's steering the ship and where it's headed. On the agenda, there are a few proposals that are up for vote, including electing some directors, basically board members, for a 3-year term. You also get to vote on whether to approve the company's choice of PricewaterhouseCoopers as their accounting firm for next year. Plus, there's an advisory vote on executive pay and a vote on a stock issuance to Stellantis. Now, before we go any further, you always need to take into account that this report contains some forward-looking statements. They are not facts, but expectations that might or might not happen. The company is talking about everything from aircraft performance to international expansion, so it's wise to remember the future part of the words. Let's talk about Archer's vision. They are based in Silicon Valley and are working to change how we fly, literally. They are developing electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft midnight for use in cities around the world. Governance, basically the system of rules and practices by which a company is directed and controlled, is very important for Archer. They only have one class of shares, meaning everyone's vote counts the same and most of their directors are independent, keeping things fair. They even have a lead independent director who helps keep the board accountable. Time to meet the board. Deborah Diaz and Fred Diaz are up for re-election. Other members include folks like Adam Goldstein, the CEO, Barbara Pulaski from Stellantis, Maria Pinelli, and Michael Spellacy. It is important to have a good mix of people, so there are standards for what they look for when picking people for board seats. So the company board is urging you to vote for Deborah Diaz and Fred Diaz. They both had been on the board for some time now. The company wants PricewaterhouseCoopers to stay the accounting firm. You get to vote for this or against it. Then there's another advisory vote for executive compensation. The board is also asking you to vote for it. Now, about that Stellantis deal, the company needs your approval to issue more stock to Stellantis. This could give Stellantis more say in things. How much is Archer paying its auditors? Well, for this past year, audit fees alone were about $2.4 million. Keep in mind, if they are not doing audit, they also charge smaller fees for other services. The audit committee, consisting of Maria Pinelli, Deborah Diaz, and Fred M. Diaz, is making sure all the numbers add up. Moving on to the team running the show, we've got Adam Goldstein as the CEO, then we have Priya Gupta serving as acting CFO, Eric Lentel is the general counsel, Tom Muniz is the chief technology officer, and Tosha Parkins is handling people and partnerships. The compensation committee believes everything is in order and are willing to put their names on it. This is how they're planning on paying these leaders and if it makes sense. Digging into what they paid the leaders, we can find the named executive officers. In addition to Adam Goldstein, we have Mark Messler, Priya Gupta, Eric Lentel, Tom Muniz, and Tosha Perkins. In 2024, Archer's 1-year total shareholder return was nearly 59%, not too shabby. The bonus plan was focused on some tough goals, but in the end, our CEO, Adam Goldstein, received an annual bonus payout of 70% of target, and our other executives received annual bonus payouts of 85% of their respective targets. The company is very specific that non-employee directors are to receive no more than $750,000 in cash and stock awards. So they are trying to make sure the management doesn't give away too much to the people on the board. For example, Deborah Diaz made almost $360,000 and Fred M. Diaz almost $390,000. Oscar Munoz made about $346,000. The directors get a mix of cash and stock so that they have some skin in the game. Each non-employee director is entitled to receive equity awards in the form of time-based RSUs. Employees cannot engage in anything short sales or anything with puts and calls. Also, pledging their stock for loans is only allowed under limited circumstances. The board and its committees are meeting regularly. In the past year, the board met 6 times. When it comes to picking directors, the nominating committee likes to see a mix of skills, expertise, and different backgrounds. The company values that diversity of background, experience, and viewpoints. And just to be clear, the report says there are no family relationships among our directors and executive officers. The firm who runs the financials also needs to be paid. The company paid PricewaterhouseCoopers over $2 million. This covers auditing the books to make sure they are correct. Let's check what they are paying the people on the board of directors. Every board member gets a big part of their compensation in equity to be invested in the company's vision. Switching over to the named executives, they want to align their pay with how well they do and give people a reason to want to stick around. They designed it so the CEO's bonus was based totally on how the company did, whereas other execs had theirs based on their individual performance. To keep everyone focused on the long game, Archer gives executives equity awards. These come in two flavors this past year: time-based, which vest over a period of time, and performance-based. The company measures performance by comparing Archer's stock returns against a group of other companies, the S&P 600. The audit committee makes sure there are no funny business with auditing, reviewing and attest services to make sure they are correct. Alright, what happens if things go south? Well, Archer has agreements that lay out what execs get if they're terminated, or there's a change in control, or a sale of the company. Goldstein will get a lot more benefits, including payments for a period of coverage for a set amount of time. Now for the pay ratio, how much more does the CEO make than the median employee? In Archer's case, it was 73-1 for 2024, so for every dollar the median employee makes, the CEO makes 73. The company's statement said that the upcoming years will likely be much lower. There are a bunch of conditions and adjustments for the numbers, so I'd encourage you to read through that if these numbers interest you. Finally, let's glance at who owns Archer. Stellantis is a major stockholder with about 13% ownership of Class A stock. CEO Adam Goldstein owns about 6.63%. The company wants to make sure to keep it transparent. There is an audit committee that helps prevent related people from having shady dealings. If you want to submit some proposals for next year, you should contact the secretary at a certain address by a certain period of time. Lastly, like most modern companies, Archer would like you to get things electronically so as to not hurt the environment. So what's the story here? Archer is at an interesting point. The company is still losing money but has a lot of cash, so you need to keep an eye on how well that cash is being used and if it is a good plan to scale the company in general, and how long can that be sustained. Also, it's important to remember that there are regulations looming, and the executive pay and the equity transactions have a lot of moving parts with many adjustments. So reading it can be very hard. The company mentions they want to be transparent, and that's good. It seems to be what they are doing. So is Archer heading for clear skies, or are there storms ahead? Only time will tell, but hopefully this has given you a clearer picture. A curvature at stakes at and for clear skies. Or are there storms ahead? Only time will tell, but hopefully this has given you a clearer picture. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. See you in the next one.